Hold on. Welcome to the JT and Looney Podcast, the summer series, August edition. Hello, Tom. How are you?
Hi. Good to be here.
Great to see you. It's been a couple of weeks because we've been traveling and we've been busy. And it didn't interrupt our friendship, but it interrupted our podcast schedule.
Oh, yes, it did. And it's always good, over the years, when you're doing what you want, you're doing what you enjoy. And I call you to do the podcast, or you call me to do it. And then we've got, 8 days in a row and double duty and doing broadcasting, etc. We're always actually happy for each other and happy for ourselves in this risky business that we're sometimes doing too much in order to squeeze the podcast in. That's the good news.
Oh, that was a good point you made there, the risky business. What happens is this time of year, radio, everything gets risky because program directors believe it's time to change the lineup. It's time to get rid of people. It's time to change people's lives. And we're not big believers of that. I'm a big radio, leave us alone. Leave me alone and let me do great radio and a good podcast. Don't touch my shit. Leave me alone. But there's always suits this time of year that says, no, we're going to change Billy with Frankie and Mikey with Joey because we think it doesn't affect the sales team and anything else, but we're going to just switch it up a little bit. And I highly say no to that. I do not recommend
It's not fair to the listeners to tune in. Also, where's your guys? And good talk shows don't grow on trees. It's surprising. A lot of program directors in radio don't realize that is to replace a good talk show with guys who've been working together for years and a time slot people are listening to for somebody who used to play the game that can't put two sentences together. And this isn't aimed at any particular network or station. We just know we know it happens on every network and every sports station where for some reason these guys that are supposed to know so much about radio prefer a TV guy or a jock over someone who comes from radio doing radio. Go figure. Your audio dropped out. Can you hear me? All of a sudden, boom, you were gone. Are you there now? Huh. So I don't know if it dropped out for the listener or just for me. Hmm. Yeah, because check your Yeti like you did last time. Because I do know during our Best Damn Sports Show period reunion on Zoom, I laughed so hard as I do that it knocked out everyone's microphone. But I don't hear you. It's interesting because now whenever anybody gives an important speech, you have people doing sign language, and I don't need the sign language person to tell me that I just heard you say that you were really pissed off. I just read your lips, and I saw the words pissed off. Hmm. 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 I'll write it and we'll do it live. Oh, remember we tried this before. Are you there? Thought I heard you. We tried this before. I logged off and then I logged back in. I should have thought that sooner, but let me do. No, still can't hear you. No. Let me also quit any other apps I have open just in case
How
anything.
about that? How
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I didn't do anything. This shit never works correctly, and now it does. And
Okay.
now we're going to start over again, and you're going to edit it in 3, 2, and 1. Welcome to the JT and Looney Podcast Summer Series. Hello, my podcast and real friend Tom Looney. How are you?
Great to hear you. Great to see you. Great to hear you doing play-by-play for the Vegas Raiders, touchdown Raiders, with JT making the call. How much fun?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I've been doing 2 games. I called a bunch of touchdowns. The only thing I'm disappointed with, Tom, is that I wish there was 7 touchdowns a game. That's what pisses me off, because my son takes the touchdowns and he puts them up and he puts them on reels. So I have an Ashton Genty touchdown. I have game-winning field goals and missed field goals, but I don't have that 80-yard bomb, and I don't have that 60-yard crossing route, and I don't have that kick return. And when you end up doing preseason play-by-play, you want the score to be 41-38.
Right.
And I don't have that. So that's kind of a bummer.
I do have a question, though, that you don't always get to ask everybody. Is there any producers helping you in your ear when somebody goes back to pass, when the third string quarterback goes back to pass and hits the third string receiver, you may or may not have memorized his number or know his name? Is there anybody helping you quickly to let you know who that is that just caught the ball?
Yeah, that's called the spotter. And we have a spotter and a statistician. Mm-hmm. And this guy, Mike Taylor, has been with the Raiders for 40 years, sits next to me. And that's what we do. When they break the huddle, if it's Geno Smith and Brock Bowers, you can see it. Right. Well, when it's in the fourth quarter and it's Cam Miller and it's Keatron Jackson and it's a bunch of players, you're sitting there going, okay. So what the spotter does is he'll point to the running back. And then I have the binoculars and I got the receivers. Okay. So I can see that. But here's what's really cool. I'm happy you're asking what we call this radio geekdom story. Mm-hmm. The Raiders have been so good to me. They want me to not do the play-by-play all the time. They want me to tell stories.
Right.
Because we have 9 hours to tell the stories of the Raiders. And I'm with Matt Millen and Eric Allen, 2 of the greats. Eric just got in the Hall of Fame, and Matt won 4 Super Bowls.
Right.
And so when Seattle has the ball, or this next game Saturday, Arizona has the ball, and they hand it off up the middle, I can go, well, Matt, tell me when you played in the NFC Championship game against Parcells and Roger Craig fumbled and you lost. That's another Super Bowl that you would have had. And he'll go, and we can tell a story. Eric Allen, you played with Reggie White. How would you compare young Max Crosby to a young Reggie White? And that's what's cool about radio. On TV, the stories on TV, you can see it. On radio, you got to get the play in. You got to get the play in, hand off up the middle, but you got a lot of time to tell stories and fill.
Oh, yeah. You can do it. With radio's theater of the mind, you can do it lots of different ways compared to TV, where it is much different. You're telling people in much less verbose ways what exactly what they're already seeing. And here's a fun fact, a broadcast geek fun fact. For a lot of years, when John Madden was calling games, do you know who his spotter was? John Robinson. His best friend, John Robinson, the former coach of USC and the Rams. When he wasn't a coach, he was a spotter for John Madden all those years in the booth. Not getting any glory, just being one guy over. They come in with them, would be Al or whomever or Pat Summerall, whomever it was, and John. But 1 foot away from John, many times, John Madden was John Robinson, his spotter.
Yeah, let me give you a couple other perks, which is really cool. Number 1, flying on the team plane. So tomorrow I got to get there. You go through TSA in the building. Uh-huh. So they wand you down in the building, and then you get on the bus and you go right to the plane. And you get on the plane and the seats are bigger and the food is bigger and the candy bars are bigger if you like that. Everything's bigger because you have football players. And then when you land, there's a police escort. So as soon as you land, all of a sudden there's police escorts taking you on freeways and highways, and everybody gets over and you're just cruising. And then you get to the team hotel and your room key's ready and you get to your room. And then the best part for me is we don't even go to our room when we get to the hotel. We go right to a ballroom, and the whole broadcast team, radio and TV, we wait for the coach and 2 players. So it's going to be Pete Carroll, Ashton Genty, the running back, and a defensive player or a defensive coach. And I got Rich Gannon, Matt Millen, Eric Allen, Kirk Morrison, friend of yours. Yeah. And we sit around and we get this private 15, 20 minutes with each, and they tell you who's playing, which we can't tweet out, or who's not.
Right.
They tell you what they're going to try to do in the game, which we can't tell you. But when the broadcast happens, we're able to tell these stories, and that's what every broadcast team does. Chris Myers is doing that in Tampa in the preseason, and he does that on the NFL on Fox. And that's the perk that I like, to be in the room with those legends. And this young boy from Massapequa can sit in that room and ask questions. Right. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah. Which one of these, what is the romper room question or Sesame Street? One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. And we've always joked about that whenever we find ourselves in those situations, or working alongside broadcast partners that we thought were the gold standard when we were this tall, which has happened to both of us. Is any coach yet given? So sometimes they let you know they're going to do a trick play or something. Sometimes some of them are generous that way. Have any of your various Raider coaches ever give you any insight about a trick play coming or anything?
No, but they'll tell you who's really fighting for a job.
Oh, okay.
Like they'll tell you, someone will go around, they'll go around and say, well, you got 3 running backs, the 2 backups. And then, coach might say, well, we're going to play them both, but this guy's got the advantage over the other. And the thing I wanted to say, which is really important, is jobs are on the line for real.
Yeah.
I mean, these are livelihoods. I'm going to call a game on radio on Saturday night, and it will be the last game a couple of these guys ever play, ever. Not this year. They're going to get cut this year, and they're not going to get a tryout next year, and they're not going to make a team next year, and their careers are going to end. And I always find that really difficult, because you get on the team plane, you're on the team bus, you see these guys in the locker room, and there's a 24-year-old kid, and he could go play in the USFL or the indoor league, whatever. Right. I'm talking about NFL dreams come to an end. And these were kids who have been playing since they've been 6. And their dream was to get to the NFL. And they did make it to the NFL. They're playing in a preseason game. It counts. It means something. They're getting paid. And then guys get hurt. And then you get on the team plane, and there's some guy with crutches. And you're going, oh, boy, he's not going to play this year at all. He's done for the year. That's why preseason is really dramatic. There are stories that affect lives, and that's going to happen this weekend as the NFL is wrapping up the final preseason games.
Yeah, and every guy has to decide when he gets cut and the phone isn't ringing. Am I the next Kurt Warner, or am I done? Because there's always that, and people have always thought that that comes out whenever there's a short college football quarterback. And there's Russell Wilson. They'll point to the throwout statistic of a short quarterback that made it in the NFL. The 4 in the 100-year history of the NFL who have been short at quarterback, who have made it. And you got to decide if you're that guy, if you're a quarterback, or if you're any other position. If you're the guy who, after 4 or 5 years, like Kurt Warner, bags groceries and makes it back. And most of the time, you're not.
Yeah, and we must say goodbye for one more year and say a prayer. We're going to say goodbye to the sideline guys, the chain gang, because we're no longer going to have the chains after this year, because they have the Skyhawk, where they're going to be able to, for the first down, they're going to be able to measure the Hawkeye, the Sony Hawkeye, where they put a chip in the ball. And it's great. I had to go to it twice already. During the game, I have to say measurement, but it's not a measurement. They bring in the technology, and from over the screen, the Skyhawk can tell you exactly where the ball is, 2 inches, 3 inches short if the nose made the ball down. Wow. Now, they're still bringing the chain gang out, because in case it doesn't work, like, first time ever using it, the technology goes down. They need it, but but I believe those men, I think they're mostly men, are not going to have jobs in the future. That's a great example of technology taking jobs away.
Oh, well, yeah, it goes all the way back to the hoe. And I'm not talking about human beings. I'm talking about at farms when all of a sudden they had a tractor. And instead of 16 people picking stuff, there was none. It was just a hoe, or 16 people raking. And back in the 1800s, the hoe took jobs away. And we can name things all throughout history that do. It's, technology moves forward, takes jobs away. Life moves forward. Music changes. Technology changes. We can either bitch about it or roll with the changes, as the great REO Speedwagon used to sing back in the day.
But getting back to what we started off with was people losing jobs with lineup changes before football season. Mm-hmm. So Stephen A. Smith, my good friend, is coming to Mad Dog Sports Radio. Mm-hmm. So he starts the perfect day for all radio guys, the day after Labor Day. He's going to start his new show. So the lineup changes. I'm moving back an hour. Oh, there's a good topic. So I'm moving back an hour. I'm going to go Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And my Monday, Tuesday night show is going from 7 p.m. Pacific, which is 10 Eastern. But I don't give a shit about 10 Eastern because I live in the Pacific. So I care about where I live. So 7 is moving back to 8. So the show that would end at 10 is going to end at 11. And my wife says, well, how do you feel about this? I said, I'm fine because I don't go to bed at 9. I don't go to bed at 10.
Right.
I should go to bed at 11. Yeah. And now I'll just have to go to bed at 11:15 instead of 11 o'clock because the show's going to end at 11. So it doesn't affect me.
You're going to be all wound up in talk show mode. You think you're going to be able to go to sleep in 15 minutes?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at that. When I'm tired, when I'm done with the radio show, it's brush your teeth, put on the news, try to go to bed, maybe take a sleep gummy, which is not the gummy you're thinking about.
Okay.
It's not a gummy that way. It's a real sleep gummy over the counter.
Okay.
A big glass of water to hydrate. And then I usually go to bed pretty easily. So I don't mind doing night radio.
You can sleep on planes. You can sleep on planes, right? Yeah, you have some kind of, if I could just digress, you have some kind of magical anti-inflammatory magic that goes on probably in your family and your DNA. Because I know just recently you had a back issue, and I was shocked. I realized you never had one, and you also never had a headache, and all those things are inflammation. So you must have surprisingly, because you're so bombastic, but with your human body, you kind of have a natural inflammatory thing happening, it seems.
And good news, I got checked out. It's I'm undefeated, knock wood, with back issues. It was a muscle spasm. Right. So it had nothing to do with my back, which was good.
How about that, though? Who was right about that? Dr. Looney. Yeah. I said it sounds more muscular than skeletal, which is good news. I'm glad I was right.
But if you told me, hey, JT, your radio show's not going to be on from 6 to 9 or 7 to 10, we're going to put you on at 6 in the morning, I would not do that. I would not do that. I would do more streaming podcasts on YouTube and Twitter, because I'm not going to get up at 5 in the morning to do effing radio. Mm-hmm. Now, some people, when lineup changes happen, they got to go from middays to mornings. And unless you're really into that, man, and you're wired that way, like some people want to do their radio show really early in the morning, and they'd be air quotes done for the day. I'm not that person. I need time to wake up, absorb the news, have a cup of coffee, do workout, whatever, and then get to the radio.
I have always one thought, you see those aspirational memes and reels that talk about successful people get up at 5 in the morning. Oh, screw you, right? Successful people get up whenever they want. A lot of creative people don't like to go to bed till, we're late night people, just like you said. We're social people. I've gotten up to do morning radio for local radio. If you want to do mornings, it's great to be local, because that's the big guy, usually the morning drive guy locally. But national syndication, usually if you're on in the morning, you're being covered up by the local guy who's doing stuff in the morning. So yeah, I've only done radio in the morning locally, and I was thrilled to do it because that was a box checked for me. I always wanted to be the morning drive guy.
Speaking of late night, you'll love this. So the other night I got home really, really late,
Mm-hmm.
like really late.
Okay.
And my wife said to me, wow, that's really late. And you'll love this. It's such a great Vegas story.
Okay.
I always tell the truth. I might exaggerate.
Mm-hmm.
We were at this bar called the Barber Shop, which is a speakeasy in the Cosmopolitan with one of the greatest house bands in the world. And it's small. I got to take you there. It's small. And the band opens up and they're on top of you. And the guitar player walks on the bar and the lead singer climbs over couches. And it's just fantastic. And everybody stepped up and played there, from Bruno Mars to others. And the lights went on at like 2:30 in the morning in the bar. And I looked at my two buddies who my wife knows well, and I go, oh shit. I thought it was 1. 12:45. It was 2:30. And then I'm on the strip in Vegas and I'm not drinking and driving, never. So I got to wait for an Uber, and I got to get for an Uber, and then I got to go back to my home. So it was a late night, but it was a good Vegas story because in Vegas, they don't have clocks anywhere. Okay. There's no clocks because they want to keep the gamblers at the table. They don't want to gamble.
Idea. Yep.
Yeah. You don't want to be up gambling and you're up a couple grand. Then you see a clock and go, oh, it's dinner. No, they want you to be immersed and give the money back. But in Vegas, what's great is they don't tell you to go home, which is one of our favorite topics of all time. In LA, where the bars close at 2, but the bouncer comes to you at 1:10 and goes, it's time to go, get to the front. And you go, no, it's not. The bar closes at 2. Why are you asking me to go at 1:10? And they go, no, you got to move to the front of the bar. And then you sit there and you go, Jesus, they're going to give up all that volume of alcohol, which goes to the owner in the bottom line. And I can get when people say, well, they're trying to protect people from drinking or getting more drunk. Bullshit. If you're in a bar at 1 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night or 2:30 or 4 in the morning, someone can get killed by a DUI at noon. So it's the responsibility of the person who's driving to not drive. And I don't know how you.
I could not agree with you more. But restaurants or bars, your hours are your hours. What does it say up there? And I understand with alcohol, okay, you got to get it off the bar at 1:30, 1:45, whatever. Okay, not 1:15. But if your hours are your hours, and someone walks in and your restaurant closes at 10, which drives me crazy because I don't leave the house till 9:30 most nights. But the restaurant, if somebody walks in at 9:40. First thing you got to say is hello. Not, we have last call for food in 10 minutes. No, it's hi. And you come in and it's 9:40, not 10. Seat them, welcome them, give them a menu, and shut the fuck up about when the kitchen closes. Thank you.
The other thing is, if I owned a California bar and it closed at 2, I would want everybody in my bar. I own the bar, so I'm making money or I'm losing money. Right? The economy's going good. So if I can get everyone in my bar to buy one more drink or cocktail or beer at 1:20 and increase my overall business of the entire night by 14 or 16%, that's a big deal because I'm paying for the kitchen, I'm paying for the security. And everybody in California is so bad at that. It is get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. Thank you for coming. Get the hell out. We got to be out of here. Why again, Gavin Newsom? Why again, Mayor?
Why are we rushing? Let's take the shot at Newsom. That's been going on forever. It's been driving us crazy. It's because it's the fault of the owner of the restaurant who's ever running the restaurant or the bar, not Gavin Newsom. Because I was in, as you know, the restaurant and bar business. And I had a great business partner. It was great because I was in my 20s and he was almost 50. I think he read the book 50 Things to Do at 50. He opened up. We opened up a bar and restaurant and coffee house, several different things together. But I learned so much great business from him. And one thing is your hours are your hours, and whatever's on the menu's got to be there. And if you run out of chicken, you go to the store and you take the loss. You go to the store, Ralph's, you get more chicken, you bring it back to the restaurant, and you have it on the menu. So it's whatever's on your menu's got to be on the menu, and whatever the hours are, the hours are. And people say hello to people when they come in. Don't tell them when the last call is for the kitchen or the bar. Say hello, and that's it. Welcome them. They're going to spend their hard-earned money in your bar or restaurant. Damn it.
Big topic, baseball in your backyard, Dodger Stadium, where for whatever reason, the Padres can't beat the Dodgers. The Padres can beat everybody. And when they play the Dodgers, it's always, we're going to beat the Dodgers. Oh, we're going to beat the Dodgers. And they never beat the Dodgers. So last weekend, the Padres, I think, cut it to one game, or it was even. It was even.
Oh, Padres were ahead by a game before that 3-game series. Padres were ahead by a game.
Thank you. So they go up to Chavez Ravine, nothing, and get swept.
Yep.
Swept. Classic Padres. So as we record the podcast on Thursday, the Dodgers are coming to Petco in San Diego for a 3-game series. Mm-hmm. This is a fascinating topic for me because I lived in San Diego for 8 years. I got buddies who are season ticket holders at Petco, and the ballpark's great. It's in the gas lamp. It's downtown. The bars are vibrant. And for the last 5-10, since the Petco is opened, Dodger fans go and buy all the tickets. It's kind of like a Raider game now, and I'm pissed off about that. Raiders are brand new in Vegas, so whenever anybody comes to a Raider game, the opposition wants to buy the tickets because they've never seen the stadium. Well, Petco, the Dodgers
and an excuse to go to Vegas.
Yeah, and the Dodgers, an excuse to not go to Chavez Ravine if you live in Orange County and go there. So this is a big series, Tom, because I think the Padres are one of the only teams that can beat the Dodgers.
Agree.
The National League teams, as I said on this broadcast, they're the only teams that can beat the Dodgers. I don't think the Tigers, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Astros. I know no team in the American League can beat the Dodgers. So as a Yankee fan, I need the Dodgers to get beat before the World Series. I think the Phillies, the Brewers, who are better than the Dodgers this year, they won 14 in a row at one point, and I think the Padres can knock off the Dodgers. But this is a big test for the Padres this weekend at Petco, and be careful. Put your head on a swivel because those fans, they'll throw down in that third deck. If Dodger fans are wearing their home blues and whites, they're getting in the face of the Padre fans, and Padre fans are the little brother that can't, and they want to get in the face of the Dodger fans. Keep your head on a swivel at that game. It's going to get interesting. Remember, I said it.
Okay, I will tell you this, though, that with the Dodgers this year, the way they're playing, somebody compared them to the Golden State Warriors when they were having their great run and didn't care about the regular season. Lakers, when they have the Shaq Kobe Lakers did during the regular season, sometimes just mailed it in or lost to teams and underperformed and played down to the level of teams. And the Dodgers have been doing that all year, but also a big shout out to Max Muncy. When Max Muncy's hurt, the Dodgers lose. He is this cog in the wheel that's been amazing. He's had a great year when he hasn't been hurt. And if he goes down, the Dodgers have a much tougher time. For some reason, it's that guy that if you take a look at the stats, when he's in the lineup, they win, and when he's not, they lose. So that's a tough one. But the Dodgers have the type of roster where no one guy, if any one of those guys are gone, they have enough all-stars on that team. And even the guys who aren't all-stars who step up and play great. So it's been a lot of fun watching this all-star team every night, but they've been incredibly inconsistent this year. And their bullpen and their pitching staff just has the injury bug this year. So this is a good year for any team in the National League to step in and get in the way of the hurting Dodgers.
Mookie Betts is batting .243. That's enough to keep the Dodgers out of the World Series. He's been one of the best players in baseball, the best of the best. He's batting .243. And can you help me with this one? Why the F did they move him to shortstop? He's a brilliant outfielder. I don't give a shit that he's good at shortstop. No, he's not Derek Jeter. He's not Cal Ripken. He's not Ernie Banks. He's Mookie Betts. He's a great outfielder. He wants to play shortstop. To play shortstop, every pitch you're in the infield, you're leaning. You got to do the double play. You got to go backhand. You got to go, got to go in the hole. You got a shift going on. Why? It's clearly affected his average. Why not just put him in the outfield to catch pop flies, not put stress on his brain? I think it's affecting his batting average. Do you agree?
Well, that's a great point. Because another thing is, early on in the season, he got some mysterious illness and lost 20 pounds. Do you remember that?
I do.
He lost 20 pounds, and it was had some stomach virus. I don't know if they ever let us know what it was, but it's not necessarily our business. We like it to be with our athletes and our politicians, but when push comes to shove, it's not. And he, I think that may have affected him, but You make a great point. That could be it. But don't you think for him, if that's it, why wouldn't he just move back to the outfield? Because before Ohtani got there, he was my favorite player. I loved watching him throwing guys out from the outfield, and just such a great 4-2 player. He was doing something amazing every night before Ohtani got there and before he moved to shortstop. Every night.
Another summer series topic. How do you wrap up the summer? It's a really big one for me because in Vegas, we don't have a summer. Today, it's 110 degrees, 110. And we had a really light summer. We didn't have a lot of 110s. We didn't. We didn't have a lot of 105s. And we might get a little rain, which we never get. And so I don't look at it going, oh, my God, holy shit, Labor Day, I got to get it in. But my friends back east do because they're teachers who start after Labor Day. There are people that have summer homes. They have homes for the summer. God forbid you had a summer house all year round and whenever you want. No, they just go to their summer home in the summer, and it rains in the summer and it's cloudy in the summer. So I'm from Massapequa, Long Island. You're from Elmira, New York. How do you tell the East Coast people, don't wrap up the summer. Keep acting like it's summer in September, October, when the weather's pretty good.
Oh my God. Well, that's why we both are probably going to live to 100. We also don't act our age. Don't act your age. Aging it's your choice how to act for whatever age you are. And don't act like the summer's over. I like that. I mean, that's a great metaphor for life. I'm stealing it. Don't act like the summer's over ever.
I think it's an East Coast thing. It really is. It's people who use the lake, the river, the ocean, and they get to mid-August.
Sun. There's the sun. It's important for them.
Yeah, because there's a big storm that started, a hurricane that's going on now. That's kind of the remnants. So I'm talking to friends of mine who had really big plans this weekend, like really fucking big. They were going to the beach. They were going to like big stuff. They were doing big things, and it's washed out. And I'm trying to tell them, we'll just do it next week. And they're like, no, I got a job. I got to go. I can't do it next week. I got to do it this week. We don't have that problem.
There's always those aspirational speakers to say, there's no backup plan. No backup plan. Just do what you need to do. Have big goals and have no backup plan. Losers have backup plans. Big Arnold Schwarzenegger philosophy, and many others. And we're blessed that where we live, if you have an outdoor wedding, there's no backup plan. Now, if you're in the back of if you're in Elmira, New York, or Massapequa, Long Island, and you have an outdoor wedding, you got a fucking backup plan in case it rains. But out west, your friends get married, they have an outdoor wedding, and then you ask, did you have a backup plan? No. We don't have to have a backup plan where we live in terms of the weather because the sun's going to be out, or it might be cloudy, but it's not going to rain, unfortunately.
I just finished 8 episodes of America's Team, The Gambler, which is Jerry Jones and his Cowboys. I don't want to say spoilers because you watched all these games. You watched Michael Irvin beat the Buffalo Bills in 2 Super Bowls. Yep. You watched Steve Young beat Troy Aikman in an epic NFC champion. You've seen it.
Believe it or not, I didn't used to admit this on our radio show. It was very unprofessional. I did see Roger Staubach play as well. But I didn't want to give away my age when we did our radio show. I wanted to sound much, much, much younger. But yeah, I saw Roger Staubach play over the years too, and Tom Landry coach. It was a lot of fun.
So a couple of takeaways. Everybody needs to see this. It's on par with The Last Dance of Michael Jordan. Now, that happened during COVID, so people were forced. We had nothing to talk about. So everybody watched The Last Dance. And The Last Dance was really epic because the star was Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan was taking shots and being really bitter and petty.
Right.
And taking shots at people. And we're like, holy shit, we don't know Michael Jordan like that. And Michael Jordan sitting there looking at a laptop and laughing at Isaiah Thomas and laughing at other people. And we're like, man, wow. This is on par with it because Jerry Jones is giving you at the end of his life, his entire life. Mm-hmm. And they've had one of the longest droughts currently in sports history.
Right.
You watch this and you forget the droughts they had. All you think of is how great they were. The risk that he put up money that he had, but he didn't have, just oil money. And it's the difference between an oil spouting and not is the reason he buys the Cowboys. And then as soon as he buys the Cowboys, he doesn't have enough money to run it. He's got to fire Tom Landry. He's got to hire Jimmy Johnson. He's got players who are doing drugs and alcohol, who he treats as good as his kids. He loves them. He's fighting Paul Tagliabue in the NFL. He breaks down the barriers and brings Nike and Pepsi and everybody into the league when they say, no, we all have these little cookie cutter deals. I'm going to split it evenly. He's like, bullshit. I own the Cowboys. I got Phil Knight of Nike wanting to do business with me. I'm going to do business with him. And then he's the guy, not one of the guys. He's the guy that brings Fox and Rupert Murdoch and the NFL on Fox that had no audience other than Married with Children and The Simpsons. Right. And he convinces every owner in the room we're doing this, and it changes television. What a documentary series.
I can't wait to see it. And I won't wait 2 years like the Johnny Manziel documentary or Swamp Kings, which I just raved about and raved about 2 years after they came out. I've been going through a big phase of watching 2-year-old documentaries and then coming on this podcast and raving about them. So I'll get to this one quicker. I'm watching the Buffalo Bills, Hard Knocks, Buffalo Bills. Yeah. I love the narration is the best part because I love his work. Liv Schreiber, is that how you say his name? And And so he's always driven St. John Fisher University, still old school, where the Buffalo Bills go and stay in dorms. And boy, do I have some stories from St. John Fisher University. Bulldog Shan used to go there, and my longtime high school friend. He lives in West Palm Beach, next to the Rush Limbaugh and the Kennedy compounds. And then there's Mar-a-Lago. Then there's the Bulldog Sheehan compound. That's my boy. So anyway, and we used to have the ham bone roast, and everybody had to do stand-up comedy, and we all had to roast Mike Hamilton, who didn't go to St. John University. He was just our friend, and it became legendary there, and it still goes on. And so I have a lot of great memories from St. John Fisher. So it's fun seeing the Buffalo Bills, and I just always love the Hard Knocks story. Like you said, you get to follow the story of people, children who visualize this as their goal in life, and then you get to know them, love them, and then they're cut. And it's a great inside look. I know there's no breaking news about what a good job HBO does with it, but I'm having more fun this year because it's the Buffalo Bills. And JT, I don't know if you're on to season 12 of Below Deck Mediterranean with Captain Carey.
No. One other quick thing, though. My buddy Russ Brandon, former GM and president of the Buffalo Bills, he did the St. John Fisher deal. That was him. He brokered it years ago and brought him there, and it's still there. And now he's got a big job working for The Rock in the UFL and doing all this. So it's really good. He's a great friend of mine. So I'm happy you mentioned St. John Fisher.
It's a good segue. New York, where they bury the electric line. So you wonder, why is this city so beautiful? And you're looking around the winter. Yeah. It's incredible. And then you realize they have so many of our cities, we just don't notice it because we're used to it, have ugly telephone poles and wires everywhere. Not Rochester, New York. They bury the wires. It reduces fire hazards and makes your city more beautiful.
And next week, it's a good segue with the Bills because next week is one of our biggest downloads of the year, our Super Bowl preview show where we pick the winner of the Super Bowl before the season starts. And it takes us months of preparation for this. We go from making $11 a podcast to $13.50. And it's a really important podcast for us. And you mentioned Buffalo.
I talked to two GMs today, by the way.
Well, that's such a good inside joke. I talked to two GMs today. I have a scout. Yeah, sure. You can't see my hands unless you're watching us on YouTube at JT the Brick YT. I'm this close to picking the Bills to win the Super Bowl.
Whoa.
This close. Okay. Last year I picked Detroit, and they lost the NFC Championship game at home to the Commanders. Yep. If they would have won that game, they would have beat Kansas City easily, just like Philly did. So I was really close. But Buffalo on Hard Knocks just lost to the Bears 38-0. And I want to say that's a red flag to me. Because as you watch Hard Knocks, Sean McDermott's pretty serious. All the meetings, he's serious. He's not saying, guys, go to the movies, F around. He's like, we got to do this. Look at the film. They went to Chicago to have joint practice with the Bears, play a game, and didn't get off the bus. It's impossible in a preseason game to lose 38-0. The other team is begging for you to score. even if Josh Allen doesn't play, someone's going to score. And I said to myself, they don't look right. They got some stars. I get it, but they don't have like the Niners and the Cowboys of the 90s stars. They don't have the stars of Montana and Aikman. I hope Buffalo isn't a little bit used to going deep into the playoffs, Tom, because they look really flat a week ago on Hard Knocks, like they weren't even checked in.
And I don't think you're aware of this, JT, but the light at the end of the tunnel is, the undefeated 1972 Miami Dolphins didn't win one preseason game. Did you know that? How about that? So
I did not.
Okay, yeah. So whenever any team I love, Buffalo Bills or the Raiders, lose a preseason game, I go right to that 72 Dolphins. Fun fact, just in the hopes that it means nothing, because we always say with the hope it means something during the preseason when our teams look good, and then we just say, it means nothing when they don't. So I'm hoping you're all wrong about that.
And last one, when every president, we either hate the president or we like the president. We are so divided in this country. We despise the president of the party that we're against.
Right.
I don't care who the president is. I've never woken up a day in my life, rolled over and said, I'm upset or I'm happy because the president.
We're both the same that way.
But when you have Putin in Alaska and you have a flyover to kind of try to intimidate him on the red carpet, and then you're trying to stop a war, and I know we're a war machine. Every country that keeps a war going is keeping a war economy going. Mm-hmm. Fascinating what's happening around the world right now. Let's try to get some peace. Let's stop killing. Let's have the end of the Ukraine-Russia war. I don't know if it'll happen or not. I'm very disturbed with Gaza. It's a humanitarian thing too. I want that to stop. I hope by the end of the summer we have some resolutions to these wars, and then we can just talk purely about sports.
Yeah, that's what I always want them to work towards. First, taking care of our people. We have to take care of each other. The homeless problem, it's not a liberal or conservative problem. It's an American problem that we all have. Shame on us for how it happens. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. Let's say how we fix it. Let's point our fingers at solutions rather than whose fault it is. It's hard to say whose fault it is. It's very complicated. But and with wars as well, can't we find a new way to solve these problems? Just say, okay, the maps right now, the way they are, that's the way it's going to be for eternity, because it hasn't worked for thousands and thousands of years. And, growing up without a dad in the house, because my dad died young, I'm so tired of people saying nothing means more important to me than God and family. And then they dump their religion and they dump their family and they run off and get killed in the war and leave their family without a dad. And dads and men have been doing that for thousands and thousands of years, and it's got to stop. And so do the wars. The good news is this is as peaceful as the universe has ever been, as the world has ever been. Mm-hmm. During World War II, 2,000 people died per hour. So we're doing a lot better than that right now these days. And we do have every baby born within 10 miles of getting a vaccine. And if maybe that might change with cutting that 4 and 8 off, but there's a lot of good news out there, and there's just no channel to broadcast it.
You have one more trip before the start of football. You got one more little escape like Palm Desert. You're like Peter Lawford. You'll just run out to Palm Desert because Sinatra's jet's landing and he's calling you saying, I got the compound open. You and your friends could have the whole side of the compound. Do you have one more Palm Desert trip lined up?
I don't think I'm going to squeeze one in. Are you? Do you have another guide trip to San Diego to sit on a boat and drink a cocktail?
No, we are head down. I'm going to work. Yep, yeah. Raiders, and then I'm going to go into some Mad Dog. Do that. I'm going to work. God, I don't know why. Like my boss who works at Mad Dog goes, "Do you want to work Labor Day?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then 10 seconds after I hung up, I go, "Why the F am I working on Labor Day?
Of all days,
I've been working my whole life. I've done well. Why am I working on Labor Day?" And I said to myself, because someone asked me if I want to work on Labor Day. And I'm going to work on Labor Day.
And what kind of work is it? It's not the coal mine. It's hollering into a microphone about sports, which you would be hollering about sports standing in your kitchen, hollering at that TV with your family anyway.
No, but I'll leave on this note. I'm still 30 years in the business on a pretty big platform. Both shows I have are pretty good. And I come out of a commercial break at like 8:20 and there's no one on hold. And I say two things to myself. Holy shit, I'm hosting a really big radio show. Anybody can hear it. Satellite radio is bigger than AM radio, much bigger. And there's no one on hold. And I take it personally. I go, why is that?
Always have. Yeah.
And I go, and I always do, because I hate the program directors who say, don't worry about the calls. And I say, F you, I'm hosting the show. I'm in my Navy pajama cargo pants and I got to go another 12 minutes. So I'm always getting the callers going. I'm always resetting the topics. I'm always refreshing the screen. I'm always looking for something to talk about. And I remind people, we have so many people in this chat. This live stream has 492 people now. We thank you all on Twitter and YouTube. Is that this is really important what I'm about to say.
We'll decide.
You're all invited to call in and tweet. I'm not a guy that wants to read text. I know some radio hosts go, let's go to the text line. That's such bullshit to me, but other people are good at it. I just want to see and hear a caller on the other end of the phone disagreeing with me, arguing with me, debating with me, complimenting me, knocking me. This is a podcast. We're not taking calls. But when you're on live radio, man, you want to have people that are talking to you, because to me, it's like a coffee house if you're a performer. If you walk in with your guitar into a coffee house and no one's there, you're still going to play great music.
Right.
You're going to play your best music. But when the coffee house is packed and people are standing up against the walls, you got more energy. So reminding everybody, when you hear a talk show, call into it. When you're hearing something,
especially yours, you're a people person, and you made friends with you're a rare breed in the way that just the way you are. We're both believe in crossing imaginary barriers. I become friends with people. I don't just say hi to people in the gym. I become their friends. They end up coming to my house. You've done the same thing with radio callers. Radio callers have been to your home.
I am a caller. That's all I am. I'm a caller who became a host. I'm nothing more than that. I'm not a former player who became a host. I'm not a former program director who wants to be heard on a show. I'm just a guy who called into radio and then became a host, man. I love those listeners. There's a great caller right behind the next phone call. Yeah. You got to feel welcome to call in. Thanks, everybody.